and welcome students. Hope you all are safe and sound and studying well. Now students, you have already understood the topic of a journal and what is the meaning of journal, that also you are very much aware. That is, journal is the first book in which we are recording the economic transactions related to business. Now journal is very important, or the first book that we are knowing, but together with the advantages of the journal, there are certain limitations of a journal book also. So today, first of all, I'll discuss the limitations of a journal. Okay, as you can see on the board, I have written the 5 points of limitations of journal. The first point, that is, account name has to be mentioned. Now for each and every transaction that we are recording the journal entries, we have to write the name of the account. So it is a tiresome and tedious work to record the same name of account frequently or many of the times. Okay, next one, that is, involves repetitive journalizing and posting work. Students, you are knowing very well that for writing the journal entries, you have to write the debit effect and the credit effect of each and every account. So naturally it is a tiresome or a tedious work, and even the journalizing or the posting of each and every account that you have to do in the ledger book. So it is a very long process. Okay. Next one, the third limitation is bulky and voluminous and difficult to manage. The journal book is the first book of recording the economic transactions. So large number of transactions of day-to-day transactions, monthly transactions, and even yearly transactions related to the business are recorded in this journal book. So naturally the book will be quite bulky and will be in different volumes, so it would be difficult to manage. Okay. Next one, fourth point, that is, does not provide information on prompt basis. Immediately, if you want to find the information related to any particular creditor or customer or any of the expense related account from the journal entries, then it would not be an easy task, because there are various number of transactions and different varieties of transactions that are recorded in the journal book. So immediately on prompt basis, you will not be able to search or get the data related to any particular account with the help of journal. Okay. Last point of limitation, that is, difficult to implement effective internal control system. Now whatever the journal entries that we are writing, that is based on the accounting standards. So internally we do not have any controlling power, or we cannot make any changes in the format or in the way or method of writing the journal entries. So there is limitation of internal control system in the journal book. So these are the 5 limitations of the journal. In order to overcome these limitations, or in order to overcome these shortcomings of journal, we have to prepare the subsidiary books. So today's topic that I am going to explain you, students, is of subsidiary books. Okay. So here I am writing the title of the topic, that is subsidiary books. Okay. Now what is the meaning of subsidiary books? Just as in journal we are writing all the different types of transactions in one particular book, here we are preparing different books for different types of transactions. Suppose for credit purchase we are maintaining separate purchase book, for credit sales we are maintaining separate sales book, for cash transactions we are maintaining separate cash book. So in this way all the transactions of the business will be divided into different books, and it would be easy and promptly we can get the information related to any particular transaction with the help of different types of subsidiary books. Okay, so first of all we'll understand the meaning of subsidiary books. Okay, let us see. It refers to the journal kept for specific transactions of similar nature. Okay, again I am repeating, it refers to the journal. It means subsidiary book is also a part of journal only, kept for specific transactions of similar nature. It means the specific transactions of similar characteristics are recorded in one particular book. Suppose purchase book, then in purchase book only credit purchase transactions related to the business will be recorded in purchase book. Similarly in sales book, only credit sales related transactions will be recorded in sales book. Okay, so specific related transactions of similar nature will be recorded in one particular book. So easily, if you want to find any of the transactions related to purchase during the whole year, then you have to just refer the purchase book. Okay, so you don't have to refer all the transactions, just as in the case of journal book. Okay, so that is one of the benefit of the subsidiary books in order to overcome the limitations of journal. Okay, now after understanding the meaning of subsidiary books, let us understand the types of subsidiary books. Okay, the next topic, that is types of subsidiary books. Okay, I'll make table form, that is type and what type of transactions will be covered in that particular subsidiary book. Okay, so the first type of subsidiary book, that is cash book. Okay, the first type of subsidiary book, that is cash book, in which only the cash transactions will be recorded. Okay, so the transactions that are recorded in cash book, that is only cash transactions will be recorded in cash book. Now in cash book, no any transactions related to credit, purchase, sales or any of the credit transactions will not be recorded in cash book. Now in cash book also there are three types. The first one, that is simple cash book. Second one, that is two columnar cash book. The third one, that is three columnar cash book. Okay. Now there are three types of cash book. The first one, as you can see that I have written, that is simple cash book, in which there would be only cash transactions recorded. Okay. Now in case of two columnar cash book, there would be two columns for transactions of cash, that is cash and bank column. There will be two columns for the transactions, that is cash and bank. Okay. And in case of three columnar, there would be three columns of the amount received or amount paid. That would be cash, bank and discount. Okay, so in case of two columnar, the two columns that would be either of cash and bank, it can be of bank and discount, it could be of cash and discount. Okay, so it depends upon the transactions that are given to you in the question. You have to decide that which type of two columnar cash book that you have to prepare. If the transactions related to cash and discount are there in the question, then you have to prepare the cash and discount column in the two columnar cash book. If the transactions related to bank and discount, it means transactions through check and discount related transactions are there in the question, then you have to prepare bank and discount column. And if the transactions of only cash and bank are given, it means cash transactions and transactions with check are given to you in the question, then you have to prepare cash and bank column in the two columnar cash book. And in case of three columnar cash book, you have to prepare all the three columns, that is cash, bank and discount. Okay, so all the three columns will be coming in the three columnar cash book. So that depends upon the question. Even in the question it would be mentioned to you that you have to prepare two columnar cash book or three columnar cash book. Okay students, so this is the first type of subsidiary book, that is cash book, in which there are three types, that is simple cash book, two columnar cash book and three columnar cash book. Okay, now after understanding the cash book, we have already understood that in cash book the word itself specifies that only the credit cash transactions will be recorded in the cash book. So in order to record the credit transactions, we are preparing the second type of subsidiary books, that is subsidiary books of goods. Okay. In there are four different types of subsidiary books for goods. The first one, that is purchase book. The second one, that is sales book. The third one, that is purchase return book. Fourth one, that is sales return book. Okay. So in case of substrate books for goods, there are 4 different types of substrate books for goods. That is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book and sales return book. Now in case of purchase book, we can record only the credit purchase transactions in the purchase book. Any of the cash purchase transactions will not be recorded in the subsidiary books for goods. For any of the cash related transactions, we have to mention it in the cash book. Okay, so for recording any of the credit purchase transactions, we are preparing the separate subsidiary book, that is the purchase book. Now in case of sales book, only the credit sales related transactions will be recorded in the sales book. Okay, and in case of purchase return means any kind of goods which we had previously purchased and now that goods we are returning back to the supplier of the goods, then that type of transactions will be recorded in the purchase return book. But mind well, in this type of subsidiary book for goods, only the credit transactions will be recorded and they should be of goods related transaction only. If any of the assets related transactions are there of purchase or sale of any of the asset, then it will be not recorded in the subsidiary books for goods. It means there are 2 conditions for subsidiary books for goods. Is that first condition, that is it should be credit transaction and assets related transactions will not be recorded. Assets related transaction, it means purchase of any of the furniture or any of the machinery or sale of any of the furniture or machinery, and that type of transactions will not be recorded in the subsidiary books for goods. Okay, so there are 4 different types of subsidiary books for goods, that is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book and sales return book. Just as in purchase return book, same in sales return book, if you have sold the goods previously to any of the customer and you are getting the goods returned back from that customer, then that type of transactions will be recorded in the sales return book. Okay, so this is the second type of the subsidiary book. Now the third one, that is subsidiary books of bills. Bills. Now in that there are 2 types of subsidiary books for bills, that is bill receivable book and bills payable book. In bills receivable book, any of the transactions in which the bill receivable has been issued there or it has been drawn by the person who is writing the bill, then that type of transactions are recorded in the bills receivable book. And any of the transactions in which the bill has been accepted, it means in future we have to make the payment of that bill, then it becomes bills payable. So any of that type of transactions will be recorded in the bills payable book. Okay, so there are 2 types of subsidiary books for bills, that is bills receivable book and bills payable book. Now the 4th type of subsidiary book, that is journal proper. Okay, now journal proper is that type of subsidiary book in which, other than whatever transactions we have discussed till now, that is cash transactions, goods related transaction and bills related transaction, other than that whatever transactions are remaining, that will all be recorded in the journal proper. Okay, now what type of transactions can be covered in journal proper? Okay, over here we have seen that goods related goods related transactions will be recorded in subsidiary books for goods. But any of the assets related transactions, suppose we have purchased furniture worth rupees 10,000 on credit from any of the furniture mart. Okay, so that type of transaction cannot be recorded in cash book nor in subsidiary books for goods. So for recording such type of assets related transactions which are credit transactions, that can be recorded in the journal proper. Even any kind of goods given as donation, goods given as charity, or goods distributed as free samples, or goods destroyed by fire, then any of the such transactions cannot be recorded in any of the subsidiary books that we have discussed till now. Okay, so that type of transactions will be recorded in the journal proper. Okay, so these are the different types of subsidiary books. There are basically 4 types of subsidiary books. That is the first one, that is cash book. Second one, that is subsidiary books for goods. The third one, that is the subsidiary books of bills, and the fourth one, that is journal proper. Now students, in this chapter, that is of subsidiary books, we are going to discuss only the subsidiary books for goods. That are four main types of subsidiary books for goods, that is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book, and sales return book. For cash book and subsidiary book for bills and journal proper, you will be learning those topics in the subsequent chapters. At present, for this chapter, we are concerned only with these four topics, that is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book, and sales book. Now after understanding the meaning, types of subsidiary books, let us understand what are the advantages of subsidiary books. Okay, so I'm writing the advantages of subsidiary books. The first one advantage, that is division of work. The first advantage of subsidiary book, that is division of work. Now over here the work can be divided. Any of the different person can be given the department to handle only purchase related transactions, only sales related transaction. So in this way, different persons can be allocated different kinds of work. So accordingly, work can be divided, and the prompt or easy results can be available due to division of work of the subsidiary books. So each and every worker of the business can be given or allocated a different work according to his caliber. If some person is quite familiar with the purchase related transactions, then he will be given the department related to purchase only. So he will be maintaining only the purchase book. In the same way, a person who is expert in dealing with the customers, then he will be maintaining, or he will be dealing with only sales related transactions. So he will be maintaining only sales book. So in this way, we can divide the work amongst the various employees of the firm. Okay, so that is the one advantage of it. Then the second one, that is division of labor. Now the person who is expertise in maintaining or in writing the books of accounts, that person will be given the work of writing the books of accounts so easily, audit and simple way he can manage, and no any mistakes would be occurring in writing the books of accounts. So he'll be given the work related to maintaining or writing the books of accounts. In the same way, the person who is familiar with dealing with the production department, he will be given the dealership, or he will be given the particular department, that is production department. Suppose any person is having a good salesmanship skill, or having a good rapport with the customers, or conveying a good thoughts to the customers, then he will be given the sales department. So in this way, division of labor and division of work can be possible with the help of subsidiary books. So these are the advantages of subsidiary books. Now after understanding the advantages of subsidiary books, let us understand the first type of subsidiary book, that is the purchase book. Okay, so today I am going to explain you the first type of subsidiary books for goods, that is the purchase book. Now in case of purchase book, there are basically two types of purchase book. Just as you can see in cash book, there were simple cash book, 2-columnar cash book, and 3-columnar cash book. Same way, in case of purchase book, there are two different types of purchase book. The first one, that is simple purchase book, and the second one, that is columnar purchase book. Okay, so there are two types of purchase book. The first one, that is simple purchase book, and the second one, that is columnar purchase book. Now in case of column also, there are two types of different columnar purchase book that I'll explain it to you with the help of the table. That is different types of goods, and goods and expenses. Okay, so these are the two types of columnar purchase book. The first one, that is different goods. Suppose there is any of the businessman or any of the owner of the business who is selling different types of goods. Suppose he is selling TV, AC and refrigerator. So he is dealing in different types or different varieties of goods. So we have to maintain different columns for the different varieties of goods that he is purchasing and selling. Okay, so that is the example of different goods. Okay. Next one, that is goods and expenses. Suppose expenses, it means railway freight, wages, and these are all the expenses related to business in order to run the business efficiently. So together with the goods, if expense related columns are to be made in the question or in the table while preparing the purchase book, then it is the example of goods and expense columnar purchase book. Okay, so these are the main two types of the purchase book. The first one, that is simple purchase book, and the second one, that is columnar purchase book. In case of columnar purchase book, there are two subtypes of columnar purchase book, that is different according to different types of goods that he is dealing with, and the second one, that is goods and expense related columnar purchase book. Okay, so this is the types of purchase book that we have studied. Now I'll explain you the specimen of purchase book. Okay, for writing the for making the specimen of the purchase book, you have to always give the heading and the name of the person in whose books you are preparing the purchase book. Okay, so suppose I am giving you example that purchase book of Shri Harish Kumar. Okay, so suppose he is the owner of the business and I am preparing the purchase book in the books of Shri Harish Kumar. Okay, so we have to give the heading anytime whenever you are preparing, whether it is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book or sales return book, don't forget to give the heading. Okay, so first of all I am explaining you today the specimen of simple purchase book. Okay, so you have to give the heading, that is purchase book of Shri Harish Kumar. Already we are always we are denoting the name of the owner by word Shri. Okay, to give him respect, to give him honor. Okay, now after giving the heading, that is purchase book of Shri Harish Kumar, let us see how to write the entries related to credit purchase in the simple purchase book. Okay, so the first column, that will be always of date, on which date the transaction has occurred related to credit purchase. Okay, next column, that would be of the name of supplier from whom we have purchased the goods or who has supplied the goods to us. Okay, so second column, that would be name of supplier. Then afterwards the next column, that would be inward invoice number. Inward invoice number, it means the bill number or the invoice number that is issued by the supplier to us. Okay, so whenever we are purchasing the goods, we are getting the bill or the invoice number of that bill that is issued by the supplier, that will be recorded in this column, that is inward invoice number. Okay, next one, that is the ledger folio number, LF number. In short, we are writing it as LF number. It is called ledger folio number. It is similar to the format of journal entries. You might remember it, that in that also we were writing the column of ledger folio number. Ledger folio number is the page number of the ledger book on which we are doing the posting of that particular account of the supplier from which we have purchased the goods. It means the ledger folio number is the page number of the ledger book on which page we have written the account of the supplier from whom we have purchased the goods on credit. Okay, then afterwards the last column, that will be for amount in rupees. Okay, that would be the last column. It means suppose you have purchased the goods worth rupees 5,000 from that is Sonal, then you will be writing over here, that is date over here. Then afterwards you will be writing the name of the supplier, that is Sonal's account. Then over here, if invoice number is provided to you in the question, then you will write invoice number and the LF number. And if not provided, then you will just put dash over there and the amount, that is rupees 5,000 or 10,000, whatever amount of goods that you have to purchase, that amount you have to write over here in the column of amount. Okay, and one thing, make it sure students, that whenever you are writing the amount, whether it is in any of the subsidiary books for goods, that is purchase book, sales book, purchase return book or sales return book, always the amount should be written after deducting the trade discount. Suppose in the transaction it is given to you that you have purchased the goods goods worth rupees 5,000 at 10% trade discount, then you will always write the amount after deducting trade discount. It means on 5,000, 10% it would come to 500. Okay, so after deducting 500, you will be writing only rupees 4,500 in the column of amount in any of the subsidy books of goods. Okay, so you are already well aware that trade discount is never to be recorded in the books of accounts. So always the net amount after deducting the trade discount will be recorded in the column of amount. Okay students, so that's all for today students. Up till now we'll have a quick revision of whatever the topics that we have studied in this video lecture. That is the first one, that is limitations of journal book. Due to limitations of journal book, in order to overcome those limitations, we have started preparation of the subsidy books. So we have understood the first of all, that is the meaning of subsidy books. Then afterwards the types of 4 different types of subsidy books, that is cash book, subtypes of cash book. Same way we have discussed the subsidy books for goods. In that also we have discussed the 4 different types of subsidy books for goods. Then after the third one, that is subsidy books of bills. In that also there were 2 subtypes, that is bills receivable book and bills payable book. Then afterwards the 4th type of subsidy book, that was journal proper. And each type of subsidy books, which type of transactions are to be recorded, that also we have discussed. And after completion of types of subsidy books, we discussed the advantages of subsidy books. And then afterwards we discussed the first type of subsidy books for goods, that is the purchase book. And in case of purchase book also there were 2 types of purchase book. From that today I have explained you the specimen of simple purchase book. Students, in the next video lecture I will be explaining you the practical sums related to simple purchase book. Till then, goodbye, keep practicing, stay blessed.